7 o'clock. We will call the town board meeting for May 20th, 2026 to order. First item on the agenda is the agenda. Patrick, any changes?
Yeah, Mr. Chair, if it pleases the board, we do have a couple of additions from staff. Larry, you want to talk about what you want on consent, and then I'll get to mine real quick?
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chair and Town Board. I have a permit for Comcast looking to hopefully add to the consent agenda.
Was that handout?
That's the handout.
Okay.
You're emailed as well.
Doing some work in the Oakmead area to upgrade the pedestals.
Okay, so we're adding that as 5H.
Yep.
All right, then what do you got, Patrick?
Then a couple things to put under new business, just for discussion. The township attorney has some comments on a application for a mobile sauna license that he would like to comment on before that is put in discussion for issuance. So we'll make that one
8D.
8D. And then the other one, we have a request for renting our park gazebo up at Polar Lakes Park. It is specifically a political rental, and I just need to know take what the board's temperature is on that. So we'll put that as 8E, if it pleases the board.
All right, the board have anything else?
Nope. No.
All right, hearing none, I need a motion to approve the agenda as amended.
I'll move to approve the agenda as amended, adding consent agenda item 5H and under new business D and E.
I agree. Second?
All right, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed? All right, that motion carries. Item 3, approval of payment of bills. You sign off?
I did move approval payment of the bills.
Second?
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? All right, that motion carries. Prior meeting minutes. This is from May 4th.
I didn't have anything.
I actually have one.
Ooh,
Yeah, I do read them.
we figured you did, Ed.
All right, let me find it. It is on page... What the heck? I thought I highlighted it. Here it is. Page 6. It was the vote on the Ramsey County Economic Authority.
Yep.
Steve recommended the motion, best seconded. It says 2 ayes, 1 nay. I would like to have that in there, that I am the dissenting vote.
Oh, wow.
Just an exclamation
You
point
wanted
there.
credit?
Well, no,
We'll
I
add
don't want
that,
to throw
Mr.
you guys under the
Chair.
bus. I want to make sure they know that I was the one.
I was going to say that.
We're okay with that.
I said if we read our names, I think that by default, it is you.
Well,
What?
No, that's fine.
You want some PR?
yeah, right. That's the PR I want.
He's not a yes man. Okay,
That's
we
right.
got it.
All right. Is there anything else on there?
I saw nothing. Move to approve the prior minutes with that change on page 6 of the minute package.
Second.
Yep.
All right. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? All right. Then we have this consent agenda items. Anybody want to pull them, or are you okay running them?
I'm fine.
I was okay with all those also.
All right. I need a motion.
I make a motion to approve the consent agenda, items 5A through G.
What about H?
Ooh, that's right, H.
All right. Do I have a second?
Second.
Motion's made and second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All opposed? All right. That motion carries. All right. Moving on to old business. Larry, you're up. Anderley Lane. This is a street improvement.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chair and Town Board. We have 2 projects that were out for bid that we're going to discuss tonight. The first being the Anderley Lane area street improvement project. On May 13th, we received bids for that project and received 2 bids, one from Park Construction and another from Bituminous Roadways. The Park Construction bid was right around $2.2 million. Bituminous Roadways, $2.3 million. And the engineer's estimate was $3.1 million. We've analyzed the bids. Everything checks out. The major items that were under from what we estimated on the engineer's estimate, where curb and gutter was, the price for curb and gutter was a lot less than the engineer's estimate. The bituminous prices were roughly 15% under our engineer's estimate. The major savings I saw was the earthwork for the project. Park Construction is a large construction firm, and they provide us a good price for the project. Park Construction, I don't know that we've worked with, but they've been around for a long, long time. Their website says 1916. I haven't worked with them personally, but they are a large contractor that can do a lot of work very quickly, and I believe they would do a professional job on this project.
Where are they out of?
They're out of Spring Lake Park.
Oh, okay.
So we're looking to accept this bid. We feel it's a really good bid for the project, and then also get authorization for construction engineering services with TKDA for the project as well. And I can answer any of your questions.
Have you personally had a discussion with them when they were awarded the bid to make sure that they're comfortable with everything?
I didn't have a discussion with Park, no.
I just don't want them to all of a sudden receive this contract and then go, oops, we missed something.
Yeah, I mean,
That's a big chunk.
yeah, I think the engineer's estimate was high, and I've been questioning that even during the feasibility process, that I thought it was high. If you recall, when we were ordering the projects, we had 3 projects that we were looking at, and we felt like we could only, we thought we could only maybe afford one of them, and I convinced you to maybe bid 2 of them to see what type of bid prices we could get. I felt at that time the construction estimate might have been high and influencing our decision. So I think it's more on that end than it is the contractor's end. What's interesting is the climate we're in now with gas prices, and the gas prices affect everything from trucking to the bituminous prices, and to get this bid with that, I just think it's a good bid, and they have to honor it. It's a certified bid.
Right. It's just amazing. Normally we get 10, 12 bidders. We get 2 when they're this.
That was going to be my question. It seems unusual when we get 2.
I know.
Yeah.
I was talking to Larry a bit about that today. When we had our Ramsey County Sheriff's Community Contract meeting back in March, I think I reported to the board that Vadnais was doing a couple of construction projects, and the administrator there had reported that they'd come in pretty aggressive for them. I think we're a little late to the game putting ours out for bid. And I think these are the guys that have time now because everybody else is booked. That's my theory. Might not be right.
Well, I mean, it's good for the township.
Yeah, absolutely.
Absolutely.
No one should complain.
Beth, questions, comments?
The only comment I had is I kind of felt the same way as I thought the engineer's estimate was a little fat, but the 2 are pretty close, so I figured
Yeah.
and unless you had one that was like $500,000 lower,
Yeah,
but,
that's a good point.
but as long as, when they come in that close, then that they're doing some. I remember those moments when a lot of money got left on the table. It was one of those,
Anything else, Steve?
No, as far as the contracted services for TKDA, that's going to be similar to what our current process has been, that you have on-site project managers.
Yes.
And they're the ones that are going to be out taking feedback from customers throughout this whole process,
Yes.
and oversight by someone else.
Yes. Yes. A 20-year veteran would be overseeing a younger inspector. On a project like this, it's not a very complicated project. it makes sense to have a younger inspector handle it. We have been working with TKDA and my staff on developing some formalized construction standards that I maybe shared with you at executive meeting, but we've finalized those, and it's all these things we talk about with young inspectors, but we haven't maybe jotted them down. And so we now have that, and we're asking TKDA to the inspector to acknowledge the standards and sign off that that's what they'll be looking for.
Trying to do everything we can to avoid what happened to us last year.
Yes.
Communication is key,
Yes.
and as long as you're reiterating that fact to the inspector people, that we do expect the inspector to be engaged.
Yes. And that brings up another point that I've asked for from TKDA is, and I've done this in some other communities, is develop yard signs with our QR code linking them to the website. And I think that'll help get more traffic to the website for the real information rather than talking to contractors.
And then the time frame for this whole project is starting when and to when?
Yes, so the completion date, we moved up the completion dates to try to get things done earlier in the season. So, and maybe that was a reason also that some of the smaller firms didn't bid on this project, is because we have a more compressed timeline to get this done. So we're not finishing things during the assessment hearing, we're finishing things before the assessment hearing.
Okay, so the date expected to finish this is end of September, first part of
We have a substantial completion, which is a term meaning the roadway work is done, but restoration and yards don't have to be done. And that was, I believe, mid-September.
Okay.
And then the final completion by mid-October.
Larry, do you sit and review, do you guys have a formal review process? Like you sit together when you go through the contract, or it's sent out, they sign, and it comes back? How do you guys do it? Because I don't know. When you do, when you put out the contract,
Yeah.
you rate it,
It's
Do you have a sit down and they're in the office, or do you just send it to them?
the plans are put online for.
No, I got that, but when you get down to like you're actually issuing the contract, correct? You haven't done it yet, right?
The contract, the contract template is in our plan, or our proposal, or our request for.
I'm just asking, like, a lot of times I would sit down with the contractor just to make sure, right before he signed it. But, it is out there, and everyone knows the expectation.
Yeah, I mean the specifications outline for every bid item what is expected, and then the contract is in the bidding document, so they see that ahead of time. So it's
Okay, so you don't need to have that meeting. All right.
we really don't. We have a pre-construction meeting to go over things, but that's usually after the contract's signed.
Plus, they were there when you opened the bids, obviously.
Well, it was an online bidding.
Really?
Oh, wow, you did an e-bid, huh?
Yeah, but it was a public online Teams meeting, and there was one person at the bid opening, and I don't remember if they were from Park or where they were from.
We typically had them in person.
Yeah, it was 2 years ago. Dale and Jim set things up to be digital, and
I think the last one I was at, there were 12 guys in the room when the bid was awarded.
Yeah.
All right, any other questions, Larry?
I'm good.
I'm good.
All right, so you want this handled in 3 separate?
Yeah, we probably should. Thank you.
3 separate?
Yep.
So based on, the first one is I'll make a motion based on the staff review and recommendation, award the contract for Anderley Lane Area Street Improvement Project to Park Construction Company for a total base bid of $2,190,302.79.
Except for, didn't we want to do the adopting the resolution receiving bids first?
Oh, well, all right. I'll make the first, hold that thought.
I'm just, are we doing the 1, 2, 3 down
Yes.
here? Are we doing, okay.
We're doing it this.
All right, thank you.
So move to pass a resolution awarding the contract for improvement 2025-2 Anderley Lane.
All right, do I have a second?
Second.
All right, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
That motion passes.
Okay, second will be what I just had said prior to this, for the award the bid for $2,190,302.79.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? That motion carries.
And thirdly, I'd like to authorize TKDA, I'll move to authorize TKDA to proceed with construction phase services in the hourly not to exceed amount of $255,200.
Second.
Motion's made and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right, then the second one we have, Larry, is the Bloom Edition.
Yes, kind of very similar, different types of projects. This is a mill and overlay project versus the Anderley Lane project was more of a reclamation project where we're adding curb and redoing the entire street. This is a mill and overlay project for the Bloom Road area near and other roadways off of Portland Avenue, and then also Saxony Avenue off of County Road H2. Again, we received 2 bids on May 13th, both from the same companies as the Anderley Lane project. One from Park Construction for $991,521.16. The second was from Bituminous Roadways for $1 million and almost $18,000. Our engineer's estimate in this case was $1,043,000, or roughly $50,000 more than the lowest bid. But again, Park Construction is the lowest responsible bidder. And again, we have a proposal from TKDA to complete the construction phase engineering services for the project for $110,700. And I can answer your questions.
Any idea if they'll be doing these consecutively?
We haven't had
If
that
they're
discussion.
big enough?
but
I mean,
they're a big company. I don't have any issue or concerns.
Steve, anything else?
Nope.
Beth?
Nope, I'm good.
All right, then again, I need 3 separate motions on this.
Try not to mess this one up. I'll make a motion to adopt the resolution to receive bids for the Bloom Edition Area 2025-4 street improvements.
Motion's made and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Make another motion to adopt the resolution awarding the contract to Park Construction Company in the amount of $991,521.16 for the Bloom Edition Area 2025-4 street improvement project.
Second.
Motion's made and seconded. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
That motion passes.
And I'll make a third motion to authorize TKDA to proceed with construction phase services in the hourly not to exceed amount of $110,700 for the Bloom Edition Area 2025-4 street improvement project.
Second.
Motion's made and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
All right,
Mr. Chair, if I might add a couple of points.
maybe.
Depends.
So I just wanted to let the board know that Tom, Kelly, and I met with S&P last week and walked through our
Explain
standard and
S&P.
poor for our bond rating. We had a couple of conversations about the financial position of the township, and I am very pleased to report that our financial position, our rating, has not changed. It is a AA+, we should procure some pretty solid interest rates on our bonding projects this year. Somewhere between 3.2 and 3.8%, I'm thinking.
Well, and actually too, because of these very low bids, that's going to affect our levy too, for
Yep.
what we have to bond for, so that helps the whole township.
It does. So the financial stewardship of the township by our finance office, once again, has helped us. They always do.
All right, moving on. Item 8A, this is equipment purchase for a turf mower. That's you again, Larry?
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chair, Town Board. This is, I believe, the last larger purchase for equipment that we have for you this year. We have $90,000 budgeted in our capital improvement plan for this year for a turf mower. And we are requesting tonight $84,184.86. We currently have a Jacobson turf mower that's heavily used during the summer, primarily in our larger parks like Polar Lakes Park. Because it's so heavily used, a standard replacement schedule is about 6 years on this type of unit. The other reason we are looking at making a change for this turf mower and going and recommending a Toro unit is the orientation of the deck, the mowing deck. It sits behind the operator, and we've had incidents every year with operators hitting obstructions like trees and fences, including getting the mower deck entangled within the fencing. And so we are looking at a mower that has the deck out in front of them and that has the steering mechanism to be more maneuverable and safe for our operators. And then it would also help with getting closer to those obstructions to lessen the amount of time for weed whipping in our parks. So we are recommending a Toro 4100D mower. Most of the rest of our fleet is also Toro mowers. And with that, we would trade our current Jacobson in. We'd recommend trading it in for $16,500 for that upgrade or change in more units. We reviewed several other options as well, including a John Deere and an Exmark. And we looked at selling the Jacobson on the open market, and mainly through an auction process. And we just feel like the trade-in is right around where we would get the same value for getting rid of the Jacobson mower. The Jacobson mowers I've come to learn are this type of unit is more primarily used and operated on for golf courses or large mowing areas that don't have the obstructions that we deal with. So staff is recommending the purchase of a 2026 Toro Groundmaster 4100D and accepting the trade-in offer from MTI Distribution. This is through the state contract, and it's under the CIP amount. With that, I can answer any of your questions.
Beth?
I have to say that, Larry, you did a very good job when you made your cases for the purchases. It was very nice.
Steve?
I have to agree with that. From a maintenance perspective, Toros tend to be pretty easily and straightforward with maintenance. Was a Jacobson also a challenge maintenance-wise, or was there no difference?
Well, first of all, I guess most of the rest of our mowing fleet is Toro, so it makes it easier for our mechanic. But we really haven't had a lot of issues with the Jacobson. It's been operating well. So we haven't had a lot of equipment issues with it.
You mentioned that our current one is 6 years old. Does hourly time have anything to do with it?
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, do you figure so many hours per year and then that also triggers a time to move on?
Yeah, just because this is one of our primary mowers, we need to rely on this mower. If we don't have it, then we have lots of smaller mowers, or we're renting to get the job done.
You don't think you can squeeze more than 6 years out of it?
You could. I mean, you know, it's one of these things. It's operated well. It hasn't had equipment breakdowns, but okay, when is that going to happen?
But is it also worth its value on the trade-in is
Right.
better
Yep.
because you are getting rid of it in a timely manner.
Yeah.
It's always a balancing act with these.
And about time you keep it one more year, you have a equipment failure that costs more than the trade-in cost.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's for sure. So no, I'm satisfied.
I am too.
All right, hearing no other questions, I need a motion to approve this purchase.
I'll make a motion based on the Public Work Director review and recommendation, approve the purchase of a 2026 Toro Groundmaster 4100D from MTI Distributing in the amount of $84,184.86 after the trade-in value of $16,500 for the 2021 Jacobson HR 700 mower, and the funding will come from the town's equipment fund.
Second.
Motion's made and second, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right, that motion passes.
Do we break champagne over it?
Yeah. All right, item 8B, this is the Park Board recommendation for ordinance number 41 amendment. Steve, are you going to take that one?
Nope.
Is this basically for instilling the no mow May? Is that what
No,
that's all about?
it's really for natural vegetation for our proposed areas that we're going to put for butterflies and
Oh, excellent.
wild gardens. If you look at it as it sits, you can't have any plants higher than 8 inches, and that just wouldn't make sense for what we're trying to accomplish. So this is a slight change. So it's not considered a nuisance for.
Oh, I see. So you're going to allow 4-foot plants then?
If necessary, there you go.
Alrighty.
Mr. Chair and Town Board, I might alert you to Section 1, and you see the exception there. Vegetation may not exceed 8 inches if the vegetation is comprised of native may exceed 8 inches if the vegetation is comprised of native vegetation designed for pollinator habitat, provided it is actively maintained to avoid becoming a nuisance. Examples: maintain edges, noxious weed control, and has a 2-foot setback from the front, side, and rear lot lines. That really was a change in the ordinance.
Yeah.
So this amendment isn't really redlined here?
It was the exception that you see under Section 1.
That's the only part? Okay.
Yeah.
Yes, Andrew, our planner, for our purposes, went out and came up with the language based on other things that he saw in other communities, and Park Board felt that it was well-written and accepted, and they've said to pass it on to the board, so.
All right, any other questions?
Nope.
Okay, I need a motion on this one for the amendment.
I'll make a motion to amend ordinance number 41, weeds section 1, to adopt the following. Should I read the exception? Or just exception 1 as noted in section 1?
I don't think you need to do that.
I don't think you need to do that.
Oh, it's fine.
That's my motion.
All right, do I have a second?
Second, I'm sorry.
Motion's made and second, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All opposed? That motion carries. All right, the last one in HC is the crossing safety program. You going to handle this, Patrick?
Well, Beth and I have been going back and forth on this kind of stuff for a couple of weeks now. Beth, do you want to lead into this discussion? We'll get going on it.
Well, actually, what got me, when I saw it, what kind of fell into place was I'd gone to that Hardwood Creek trail, and they're going to, the Bruce Fendo Trail, Phase 2 is, they're going right back to the drawing board. They're throwing out everything they've had, and they're going to go back to it. But it would make sense if you went from Hugo all the way down to downtown White Bear, to think about getting, one of the things they had was taking tracks out, relocating them or getting rid of them. And they've got a $1.1 billion grant.
All for us, right?
Yep, absolutely. Actually, But the thing is, when, like a long time ago when the BBT was, City of White Bear had actually expressed an interest in getting rid of the tracks, and it would really solve the problem when they've got the traffic signals coming in. They're going to come in at 61 and 96. Remember they voted, well, you probably don't, but they voted for it. And it kind of left them hanging as to what to do with how to connect up the trail from Hugo down to the City of White Bear. And since it goes through ours, and we had initially put the trail on the railroad tracks, and they changed it without consulting.
Well, is that because the railroad fought it, though?
No, it was, I don't know. Scott Yankee just changed it without telling anybody. Tom and I were kind of confused about how that happened.
I
But
thought
Scott's gone.
I thought the Minnesota Commercial Railroad signed a separate agreement with the Burlington Northern for that track.
Well, actually, Mr. Chamberlain gave him $1.5 million to fix it, and he didn't bother asking for an easement. What a sweetheart.
Well, every time
Might
you
sound
talk
better.
about eliminating tracks, the railroad
I know.
has a fit. So how are they
Here's
grant?
the thing, we're just going to ask for the money. I mean, apparently they're trying to do this all over the country, and it just figures if you don't ask, you don't get.
I'm all for it,
Yeah.
asking.
Yeah.
Might as well ask.
Do you have to designate what tracks, where, and
Yeah, it's the track, like, we want to
no?
connect.
Well, I
I'm
know,
sorry.
but if you apply for the grant, you're going to have to fill out where exactly. Or is there going to be is this something Andrew's going to have to be involved in?
No, this would be Janine. I'm pretty sure, right, Larry?
Well, and the time frame is really tight. It's June 8th, so we've got to get our little pens speed rating.
I think I see where Supervisor Artner's going with this. We could potentially identify and locate all the railroad crossings within the township.
Well, it's a safety issue because
Yeah, and
it's the biggest fights, on Buffalo and 61.
Yep.
Because the school buses, when they come,
Well, most of our crossings are on county roads. There's very few on township roads. Does that matter?
that's a good question.
it is a good question,
Might
but
as well ask the question
Yeah.
when we're doing this.
Because like I said, if you're going to apply for a grant, you're going to have to designate which crossings, how many feet, how many miles, or whatever the track is. So you can't just, okay, give us a.
No. You're right. But I think what Janine, who is our contracted grant writer through TKDA, would say is that there are several phases for applying for grants like this. And I think what she would suggest is there's an introductory form that you would fill out just to see if you even fit into something like this in the first place. And then in a general sense, if they think that the community is a match for these types of funds or projects, then they reach out for more information and you get more intensive into what the grant application is.
So basically, you just want a general consensus. The board approves this, and you're going to talk to her to get on the stick.
She's good. I mean, Janine turns things around pretty quick.
No problem with that.
Yeah, because I'd be curious to see just what kind of amount we're talking.
Yeah.
100,000, 500,000.
well, there's $1 billion in the fund.
Well, that's true, but that's going to be.
Ask for it all.
Yeah, we deserve it. Come on, Ed.
It'll probably cover it maybe if we did all the stuff here.
So so for tonight, you don't have an action item on here, though?
No, I think Beth just wanted to kind of get a consensus or a feel from the board just as to whether or not we should invest time in doing something like this. I
absolutely.
don't see why not.
Well, especially if this would resolve that issue with the Vento Trail.
Yeah.
Well, the Vento Trail, they're redoing the whole second phase. They're going back to the drawing board.
But if we can get it back to where along the track where we thought it should be, then
Well,
this might
yeah.
fall in the line with what we're trying to do.
Well, that's the thing, because up in Hugo, the Hardwood Creek, we've been talking to all three of them. And we've heard, not that we know for a fact, but White Bear was interested at one point because they wanted to get rid of the tracks downtown, because the merchants love the idea of not having the tracks. Not
Okay.
that we want to do.
So staff has marching orders?
Sure. I'll get on the horn with you tomorrow.
All right, moving on, under new business, 8D, mobile sauna.
Yep.
Do tell.
I'm gonna let Chad wade in on this one.
Andrew told me about this yesterday, and I went through the zoning code. My understanding is that they would be used in the open space designated areas, so zoned open space.
Ramsey County open space?
Well, no, zoned areas in the township zoned open space. And
Benson's Airport?
Well, there already is a mobile sauna that I had brought up already once before,
That's on Ramsey County property.
but it's in the township.
Yep, it is.
And they have to, as I understood it, it's our ordinances that have to apply. This was brought up about 8 or 9 months ago, about that one. But anyway, I interrupted you, I'm sorry, Chad.
okay.
How dare you?
It troubles me in that you're operating a business in an area designated open spaces, which clearly, under the zoning code, does not allow for open spaces. It's designed for recreational use, trails, natural use. It's not designed to operate a business. So
Isn't sauna sort of a health thing?
I think that's pushing it.
Well, don't you get, sticks and hit yourself when you're done in the sauna?
We wouldn't know. But Pat pointed out to me that there have been food trucks in our parks, open spaces, have been operating on a regular basis. And they're obviously businesses. Now apparently they operate on the basis that, well, we have a permit from the Ramsey County Health Department, so we can go whenever we want. That still troubles me. I think it's something we need to look at. Because, okay, food trucks, saunas, what's next?
Nail
Really opening
salons,
the
hair,
door.
barbers,
Well, yeah,
everything on wheels.
anything on wheels,
Do we allow mobile doggy grooming?
that's a possibility too.
Those guys are great.
So to move this forward, can we just have Andrew research this?
He's got a couple of recommendations. You want me to read them to him there, Chad?
Yeah, go ahead, because he didn't give me any recommendations.
Okay, so the town's interested in allowing temporary or transient merchants to use open space and park zone properties or public properties. He recommends adding something called transient merchant as a permitted use to be considered similarly to a seasonal sales stand like produce, fireworks, trees, greenhouses, etc., with some additional requirements for the business to complete on a reoccurring basis. Business operator would need to provide a written request including hours of operation, list of the locations where they would operate, site plan showing parking plan and where the business will be set up, certificate of liability insurance, etc. And the operator would be required to renew the application after the first year with the subsequent approval lasting a duration of 5 years and obtaining a business license from the town at that point.
But it doesn't solve the problem of how do you control what type of use?
Sure.
That's
Yep.
the problem.
Yep.
So you have to have a permitted use.
Well, if you say, based on the language that Pat just read, you're opening up to pretty much any business.
Yeah.
The way that reads, yes.
Yeah, exactly.
This makes the hair on the back of my neck stand up. I just think this, right away, you're enticing illegal operations because they're on wheels. How do you track them? How do you monitor them? It puts a lot of pressure on our building inspector.
Yeah, that's true too.
They are licensed. They have to apply for a permit, but it's a question, I wouldn't be, that's not my main concern. My main concern is, do you really want parks, open spaces to be used as a commercial venue?
Is there insurance liability on this?
No, I wouldn't say so.
How does this work exactly? Is it any time of the year? Is it winter time? I'm kind of curious.
Well, it's a 5-year license, so
Yep.
yes, it'd be year-round.
Are they like parties, or you just go to some? How does this work?
Oh, these saunas, you mean?
Yeah.
I really don't know.
So there's one, as Commissioner or Supervisor Ruzek mentioned, there's been one up at Tamarack for the last couple of years now, I believe, that they just kind of park out in the far east auxiliary parking lot, and they just kind of
By the
operate
garden
there
house,
with
yeah.
and people park in the established parking lot of Tamarack and just kind of walk over to it.
So they just sit and sweat and then leave?
Yeah, and leave.
I mean, seems quite innocuous.
It does, and I don't think Chad's saying that there's any problem with this business in
No,
particular.
it's-
I think he's worried about what else comes along, and would get on the back of the permitted use that this business has requested.
But you're concerned they'll start slipping down little slivovits and, you know.
Well, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, how do you define it in a manner that doesn't open it up to a lot of other potential businesses? You have to be extremely careful.
Well, is there really a difference between township open space and township parks?
Under zoning code, no. Well, yes, there is. Anything that's zoned open space, which would be parks, I mean, I haven't looked at the map, but I would assume they'd be parks, mostly parks.
Well, that's what I'm getting at. How many spots, if it wasn't in a park, where would they be? I'm trying to think of any.
I think there's a technical.
Obviously, the spot on Hoffman Road across from the lake, where the old town hall used to be, that's considered open space, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
No, that's
I believe it is.
no. It's got a zone. It's got its own zone because
Well,
that's
it's got the adult
our adult entertainment.
zone. Yeah, I guess
Zone.
you're right. But it
Does have its own zone. Yeah, I mean, I would say mostly it's parks,
Yeah.
but the question is, do you really want the parks populated with all of a sudden a bunch of transient businesses?
It kind of doesn't fit with the comp plan where you have to designate all your open space in parks. Then you might as well have it zoned something different.
Yeah, I just have a problem with it.
I think we need some research.
Problems, I withdraw the word problem. I have a concern about how you control this.
Well, right now, if it's only happening in Ramsey County open spaces, they're getting their permits through Ramsey County?
Yep.
So it's not affected the township yet?
not yet.
Do they have a history that we know how it works? I mean, if there's any issues?
So, talking to Andrew and getting some input from Chad too. At this point, the closest comparison that I can have with the request use or conditional use for this business is the food trucks or businesses that operate in Polar Lakes during Township Day, right? They're issued permits from Ramsey County through their Department of Health. So we don't technically regulate those businesses either. So I don't know where this fits in, Chad, to be honest with you. I would assume that they'd have to go through Department of Health too, right?
Well, not necessarily. I would
Okay.
assume they may have to. I wouldn't.
I don't know.
It wouldn't surprise me one bit.
Yeah.
But, okay, saunas. You're going to have mobile massage parlors too?
Well,
the
okay,
difference?
I mean, but there's a difference between, a salacious massage parlor and a therapeutic one,
Yeah.
I understand, but that's my point.
How do you
Where do
draw
you
the
stop?
distinction,
Where do you,
yeah.
where do you draw the line?
Well, you'd have to specifically name it in the ordinance. If we amend the ordinance we'd have to specifically name just that one.
That would be, you'd have to be extremely,
Do these things run on
limited.
generators?
I don't know.
So I don't want a generator running in the park.
Yeah.
I mean, they're noisy, they're obnoxious. That would be totally against what we're trying to achieve in the park. But I don't know how they operate. A sauna heater
curious.
could run on propane. I don't know.
Yeah.
Is
I'd
there
be curious how this whole thing works.
is there an issue with exhaust fumes? There's a whole lot of questions before we even think about even considering it, I would think.
I would probably or recommend at this point that because the board is not comfortable with the concept of allowing for this in the township, that it's just not.
Well, I'd also like to have Andrew or the park board review neighboring communities.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
Are they allowing this, or how are they handling it? I don't want to try and reinvent the wheel here, but
No, it's a good.
I also, like I said, we're kind of proud of our parks. I don't know if you want to infringe on them with trailers rolling in and out.
Well, I think this is a good topic for the park board to, and Andrew as part of that, to get their teeth into this and
I think we should
research
take
it.
a field trip.
With the exception of.
With sauna? I got one of my.
Frank's got one too, but it's like, I mean, I gotta say, I'm curious.
I mean, Cub has
If it
them there
can be
pretty
a health
regularly
thing, I
there.
mean, and it's just very,
Yeah, but that's also commercially zoned property.
It
too.
is, yeah.
So that's one I could
Yeah.
live with. It's,
But
What are you talking about? What I
Park
missed?
one is, I think, is strictly Township Day.
yeah, food trucks in Cub parking lot.
Yeah.
That's, that's zone business. That's a little easier to accept. It's, just businesses operating in the parks, mobile business operating in the parks.
Well, Patrick, didn't we recently have a ball tournament in Polar Lakes Park? One of the weekends?
Yeah,
Did they have
going on.
Did they have food trucks there? Because it's possible,
No.
if you're going to host a tournament, that they may want food trucks. So it's out there. So maybe we do really need to get our hands around it.
That's a good point, something we need to look at.
Yeah.
Okay. Park board meets tomorrow. So, Andrew, Andrew was gonna not attend. Like I might ask him to
We're
go.
meeting at a park and he's not going to attend. Okay. Well, whatever.
So, yep, we will do that.
Well, it doesn't have to be this meeting. It could be the next one.
Well, I think as a courtesy to the business that's requesting this, we might want to, since we've,
Well, there's someone waiting in the wings on
yeah,
this
I
mobile.
mean, this has been requested to go through, so.
have we gotten any feedback from Ramsey County with regard to the one that's at Tamarack?
No.
I'm kind of curious.
Well, and I think if the applicant is willing, then maybe they should show up at the park board meeting to at least address some of the questions.
Sure.
And how the process works and,
Yep.
and how long they've been doing it, whatever. A rundown, so at least we can feel a little more comfortable with what we're looking at.
Let me, so Andrew is in the office tomorrow. I'll have a discussion with him about getting a little more background
But if you can't get the applicant in tomorrow, then he's going to have to wait till next month.
Yeah.
But as it sits today, is there anything stopping this business from starting
Well, it's definitely not allowed under the zoning code, so yes,
under the zoning code for open
open spaces.
spaces?
They have to operate in a area zone for business.
Commercial, that's why they can do it at Cub Foods.
That's why food trucks would be okay at.
Because of the commercial zoning.
Yeah. When I say okay, it's a use that would be hard to prohibit.
All right, well, we'll wait to hear from park board recommendations and see what else Andrew can find out about surrounding communities.
Yep. I will talk to him tomorrow.
All right, moving on. This last one is pavilion rental. What's this about?
Yeah, so another new one. The pavilion or the gazebo out at Polar Lakes Park has been requested to be rented, which we do. And the more I thought about this, I don't think we really have any, I mean, we've got some oversight on it, but there's really no grounds to deny this because, well, the request is it's going to be a political presence at the gazebo while they rent it. And I guess the more I think about it, we've got the booths at Township Day that we've got Democrats and Republicans. I don't know if we can deny it based upon the conversation that I had with Chad here under free speech, right?
But there's a lot of other political entities out there besides Republicans and Democrats.
I gotcha. Yep.
Well, I mean, strictly from a free speech standpoint, I think we'd have a real problem prohibiting use of the pavilion, or not so much prohibiting, but not leasing it to them.
Yeah.
Prohibiting leasing it. So I think you pretty much have to. But on the other hand, you're right. I mean, if there's a potential safety issue, then you may be able to set requirements as to security.
Is this a
Is that
rally? Is this a rally or what is it?
I really don't know.
Is there a number of people limitation that we,
That I don't know.
because I guess that would worry about having an abundance of people in one area.
That's where you couldn't justify putting security and traffic control restrictions in place on the
Yep.
rental.
That would be about,
But that's about it.
yep.
And we were, several years ago, there was going to be a music venue that wanted to come there, and that was the same issues. We said, well, we need to know size, expectations, and then we wanted to get security information because we're not providing security.
No.
So
And
we just need more information.
because if your interest is limited to traffic control and security, that applies to any use.
Yes.
And you're in no way inhibiting free speech because you're applying it to everyone. So that's okay.
Because we'd also have to be able to post this with signs, so someone else isn't there when this happens. Otherwise, you're going to have confrontation. Get out, we're setting up. There's going to have to be something on the website stating that section of the park is closed for this gathering. I mean,
Well, we do have leasing guidelines.
We do.
So,
But Ed's right. I mean,
Yeah.
the way things are now,
Well, you'd be concerned if something went awry
yeah,
and how it would reflect on the township.
yeah, I have concerns about it. Sure.
and once you post it as this political event, you're going to have opposition, no matter who it is,
Yeah.
what it's for.
Exactly.
So now, are we just bringing in a confrontation?
well, that's why you can place security requirements on the lease. Because just because they may result in protests, doesn't change the fact that it's still a free speech issue.
I got a bad feeling about this, but he's right. I don't think we can deny it.
No.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not happy. Oh, happy is wrong. I have my misgivings,
Yeah, me too.
but that doesn't change the fact that this is America and you have a right to free speech.
Well, that's true, but we also have the right to monitor our parks. And if it needs a permit, don't we have the right to not issue a permit for such a gathering?
No, I don't think you do, because it is a public park. It's a public space.
Yes.
But you have the right to place controls over traffic, over security, over safety. Those are legitimate governmental concerns. And you have the right to place those controls.
So which means offering or giving a permit out is going to come with some expense. Traffic controls and cops?
Which they would have to cover themselves.
Yeah.
the gazebo could only fit so many people. It's a small space.
Talking about the one down by the ball field at the very end.
I think, yeah, in the lease agreement, no, I'm just thinking down the road, if it spills out further than just inside that gazebo, there's property damage that could occur too. And it's this whole thing of you're going to be paying for any damages caused, but that's all in the lease agreement. I don't think we can stop it for free speech. I think for what you said is correct.
And I mean, can we require liability insurance?
As long as the requirements that that the township sets governs every use.
Everybody? Yep.
So they're not discriminatory in any manner whatsoever. They don't discriminate against any type of free speech or use. I think you have every right to do so.
Because I thought a while back, someone applied to have the park dedicated for a wedding. And it kind of went away, but that was the same thing. They wanted to close that section of the park
Yep.
and make it just for that wedding reception.
I believe that Jamie has said that those opportunities are still out there in leasing pavilions. There's more than just the Polar Lakes Park Pavilion. There's one at Otter, and there's a couple other places that have potentials for rental.
Well, and a lot of times the neighbors just do it as a friendly
Yeah.
deal.
Yep.
You just all get together. There's really no permit. But that's like a block party type of thing, so.
So
So the thing that I guess I'm the most concerned about is that if it is a formal rental agreement between the township and the party that's conducting this gathering, if
You better speak into the mic.
if anything sparks up in confrontation between whomever it is that might be opposing it, which there's a very good chance that happens. I mean, what are we responsible for at that point, Chad?
Well, the details are in the lease. I mean, you really need to sit down and know what you're getting
I
into.
think, Pat, you're talking about just say a spontaneous rally and things go awry. So what you're tuning.
No, and it's not a spontaneous rally if they are
Okay.
going out of their way to lease it through us.
Oh, yeah, okay. I thought you may be thinking
No,
situation
no.
where they decided to go out and use it.
Yeah. If somebody goes out and decides to use it, no one's using it on that day, and they take it over. How can we?
Can't stop
We
that.
can't stop that.
No.
But if someone is formally going through us to rent it, I mean, what kind of
then-
responsibility do
Well,
we
then-
have?
Well, it is town property.
Hmm?
You do have the rights, again, to make sure there's proper security in place and proper traffic control in place.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, township days.
And then would there be damage deposits or,
There's no reason why you can't have that too, because you're setting rules that apply to everyone.
That's why I said the lease is the key thing, that getting past the freedom to hold it is, they have a right to have a political rally. I don't think you can get away with that, but it's all in the details of what you're going to have them, require them to do, which is the lease.
Yeah,
And that's negotiable.
Yep, that's true.
but I think,
His concern is it needs to be applicable to everybody.
yeah, and I think that's why it really requires a policy determined by the town board. Policy parameters.
Sure.
And that's easy enough, you can, depends on the potential size.
Well, would you put that in this park use policy that we already developed and have an addendum added to it?
Might want to.
That would be a good place for
Because
it.
then it's in one place.
Yep.
That's exactly where it should be.
but does public safety also have to be involved in this? Or not, just the park board?
Well, probably just the park board.
Yeah.
All right.
But public safety and how we secure the area does have a major component in it.
And I'll give an example. For one condition might be that you have to coordinate with the Ramsey County Sheriff's Office.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that too.
Sure. That's why if the policy is one thing, the details will go with that, such as every lease is going to be unique to the event that, whether it's a political one or not, could be unique.
Somewhat unique, but nonetheless, the standards, you have to have a general set of standards that apply to everyone. Yeah, I mean,
You're not going to require everybody to have 50 security guards if there's only 10 people there.
no.
But the framework is security. That's the
Exactly.
framework. Yeah. No, I gotcha. I think,
Are you going to do it according to density? I mean, like when you're having ball games, let's face it, parents and the players, but this would be bigger. So
Yeah,
you,
the policy could be it could be great, there could be a gradation of use. If it's only be 50 people, fine. Maybe you don't need anyone at all for security or traffic control. It's 100, maybe you want one security person. If it's it's 1,000, you probably want a few security people there. And you may want to have a traffic program too.
yeah.
But
you have to
again,
call on their
This way,
veracity.
We already require, when they have those, the bike-a-thons and the marathons, small mini marathons through the township, we require they come up with a plan,
Yes.
and they have to clear that plan with the sheriff's office.
True.
Same thing. Apply the same rules.
Well, I think, yes, any kind of political rally, if it's a rally, I think with the sheriff's department would need to know about it because it's always, in this world we live in today, it could have high charge probability of issues. So
definitely,
they need
yeah.
to know about it.
well, again, not in reinventing the wheel. Somebody else has had to come up with this. Some other, Shoreview's got a lot of.
Yeah.
Somebody's already dealt with this.
More than likely, you're right.
So if we look around, I'm sure they probably ironed out some of these details.
Add this to the agenda for park board tomorrow.
Long night.
Yeah, it was an agenda that was like this long. Now it's.
Well, I think I don't think you're going to solve this in one night.
I don't think you will either, but
At least get the
conversation going on it. Yep.
I think the idea of checking, Wouldn't surprise me very much if Minneapolis, St. Paul have some ordinances to that effect.
So basically so through all this discussion that we've had on these 2 points, basically I'm going to be notifying both of these parties that have talked to the township about holding these events, that they're going to have to hold tight until it gets some clarity of direction from our 2 governing boards.
Yeah. Is there,
How much time do you have with the political,
yeah,
I don't know.
I mean, they haven't given you a date at all or anything? Okay. Well,
you know,
yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
just one final note on the political part of township days. I believe that there is rules that said they can only have one spot for each political party. They can't have 50 locations within the park. They all have to be in the same setup. Otherwise, I think we did limit it to that.
I think
someplace
you are
along the
correct.
line.
Yep.
Well, that's how they do it at Market Fest, too.
So you're basically saying that there's already a designated area in the town for these?
No,
At township day, no, just
Township
on township days.
just township days.
Right.
And there's a fee that went along with a different fee schedule if it was a political party versus a vendor of some kind.
That, I got to tell you, it's a little,
I think it's the same.
okay, if it.
We charge a fee for the vendors to do
Well,
business.
that's fine. Because it's consistent, it's the same for everyone.
It is.
Yeah.
The only exception on our political piece, just for clarification, is if a township resident is running for a township office, they don't have to pay a fee.
Ah.
That we're consistent that they're running to be one of our elected officials, so they don't pay a
I
fee.
think that's when that's justifiable.
Yeah.
Well, Patrick, you also want to maybe double check because now obviously we have the Wall That Heals coming in August.
Yep.
How do we handle their permit?
I think Mike issued him a permit.
Okay, well, we got to look at that because that's going to consume that portion of the park for
Right.
4 days. So, and again, I don't know if they had well, I know they have a safety plan with
Yep.
Ramsey County, but
And liability insurance, all that stuff.
so, and that's another template that we might be able to use too.
Yep, you're right.
Well, we did have that music fest, was it 4 or 5 years ago?
It
Thought
never,
we actually had it.
it never happened.
Yeah,
Never
it was,
happened?
It was
Okay.
going to, and it
It fell
never,
apart.
Oh, okay.
never went on.
Never went on, okay.
Yep.
But Jamie's all over.
I had a
she's-
sore throat that night.
She's got all the dates when they're all rented. So we know when the thing is reserved, so.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Got it.
All right, to be continued. All right, that is our regular added agenda items. We have open time. Gentlemen sitting here? Nope. Just observing? Just observing, yeah. Isn't it fun? All
Appreciate it.
right, because we're going to have the room empty. We got to go into closed session with our council, and so Larry and guests, we'll have to ask you to please exit the building.
And this will be for, as noted on your agenda, real estate discussions, which is protected under statute for closed session, as well as our ongoing litigation
Thank you.
with White Bear Lake City on our contract dispute. So.
We're going to talk about that too?
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
All right, you going to let Lisa know?
Yep.
Then I need a formal motion for,
Yes.
I'll make that motion that we're going to close session to discuss a real estate transaction and also the ongoing litigation of a fire contract with the city of White Bear.
I'll second.
motion made second, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Closed session?
I'll make the motion to come out of closed session
I'll second.
We have for the discussion.
for
of-
the discussion of a real estate transaction and also the ongoing litigation with the city of White Bear Lake over the fire contract.
Second?
Second now.
All right.
Okay.
All in favor, say aye.
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 All opposed? All right. Chad, you want to give a synopsis on that?
In summary is this, again, the board went to closed session for two purposes. One, to discuss ongoing litigation with the city of White Bear Lake regarding the fire service contract. And simply, the board was simply updated by the town attorney and the town clerk. The board also discussed sale of 2569 Stacker Boulevard, which is a vacant lot owned by the town, for a price of $125,000. And the terms of the sale were reviewed as well.
So after that, we need a motion to accept the purchase agreement for that.
Yeah, you'll need to adopt a resolution agreeing to accept the purchase agreement.
I'll make a motion to adopt a resolution to accept the offer for 2569 Stacker Boulevard for $125,000,
Correct.
Pursuant to the terms of the purchase agreement presented to the township.
as amended by the town attorney.
I'll second.
All right, motion's made second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? All right, that concludes our agenda. I need a motion to receive agenda material and supplements.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
And then I need a motion to adjourn at
So moved.
8:33.
Second.
Everything can stay up.